what you guys are doing is you're saying you're delivering a product in the form of a Barndo, but you're delivering an experience. Mm-hmm. And I would akin it to and go as far as to say an intimate experience. Like, this is next level stuff. Like, to your point, like, all their dreams are tied up in this thing, and you cannot automate intimacy.
Yep. It's
very difficult to scale intimacy.
Yep.
So, like, what does it look like as you guys have moved on to low country, and now you were just in my backyard looking at a Nashville location, and you've got the Dunn one. So when TJ can't get on the horn while he's driving and give an actual legitimate, empathetic, heartfelt sorry, what does that look like? Is the team ready for this? Because to your point, the question becomes, can we scale and still let every single even complaint not fall on deaf ears? Can we still field those from a genuine place of we give a shit? You know
that's
I mean?
right. Yeah. So, that's the issue is when you have the deliverable, which is care, concern, empathy, but you got to be able to get it there. And so a lot of that in the beginning, it boiled back down to what I do, what Ross does. And then that was just 2 years ago, so it's 2 years ago, 300 Barndos ago. Sure. And so as we go down this road, it's like, those are the holes that we identify. So, like even Jenna from the marketing thing, we brought in a marketing assistant because I was still handling the majority of our marketing stuff, and I'm trying to phase even out of that role so I can move more into visionary and address more of these things through scale, because every market opens up a whole new can of worms in and of itself, different client base, different backgrounds, different circumstances.
Well, real quick while you're on that, because I want whoever, I'm not sure who this is addressed to, who hears this. Hopefully it's entrepreneurs in general, but I want people to understand what my man is saying. Like, it's building yourself out of a job. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong, is they're so emotionally attached, or their ego is attached to their business, they don't ever want to let things go. Like, for you to let the marketing go, when I would argue that your zone of genius is again, people and connecting with people via your gift to gab and your marketing strategies and so on. So letting that off your plate, 90% of entrepreneurs couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because the story is, I'm the best at it. Like,
100%.
even if I delegate it, I'm just going to hover over and micromanage, and I'm going to have to punch it over the end zone, right, and do this myself. So I'm just not letting it go. And then that's the reason you're stuck. And so ever since I've worked with you, every conversation we had is, TJ, what are you doing to build yourself out of a job? TJ, why are you still doing marketing? TJ, did you dish this off? Because TJ, you have a zone of genius, and if you don't stay in that, you are not living all your hours to the service of Barndo.
Right.
How is TJ Norris and how is Ross? How are they the biggest asset to this company? Cool. How do we keep them in that pocket as much as possible?
That's right.
And it requires letting some shit go. And most male entrepreneurs, which is all I work with, they don't have it in them to let shit go. I struggle with that.
No, it's hard. It's hard. Well, I mean, the challenge was you got to.
Yeah.
So if you're going to grow at all and scale, you cannot do it all. Yeah. And so I kind of had that realization. And one of the things that opened me up tremendously to that was like hiring an executive assistant, like just offloading the simplest of tasks. And I'm like, man, that was.
So what stories did you have? Let's just sit in that for a second.
Yeah, who's going to? You mean you're going to read my emails and reply? You don't know what to say. You don't know how to do. You don't know.
You're not me.
Yeah,
you're going to be my voice.
Yeah.
Did you have a story? Because I get this one a lot too, where you feel almost bougie, or like I remember when I first was working with an EA. You're kind of like, I don't want to even tell people I have one. That's like,
it's imposter syndrome though.
Yeah, like who am I to have an EA?
Yeah, no. So that's a whole spiritual journey in and of itself. Is like you.
But these are the reasons why we do so much work on the business man, because I can give you the plan, and the plan might say hire an EA in 90 days, get them trained up. It might say get rid of marketing and build a team.
Yeah.
And the strategy is very sound, but you aren't actually ready to do the things I'm telling you to do, so we're wasting our time. And you're going to spend a year with another mastermind or another group who just develops a strategy, and they're going to lay it in front of you, and that strategy will get you to 8 figures and beyond. It's been proven. The guy who handed it to you likely did it himself.
Correct.
But you ain't ready. Yep. Like, that's the vehicle, and you are not the driver that's even ready to make turn 2. And turn 2 might be get you an EA, get you an effective EA, and train that EA, and then get rid of the marketing department. You're not ready. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then
it's like Dan Martell always says, like 80% done is 100% awesome.
Yeah.
And so like moving into that EA, so the EA is what it was the easiest thing.
By the way, executive assistant for if there's any super rookies listening.
Yeah, executive assistant. And so like if you've ever dialogued with me, you know who Haley is.
Yeah.
She's the core of that communications for me. She runs my calendar, she runs my email, she runs everything on the back end. Like, that's just how I operate. And when I did that, it freed up so much mental capacity for me to think about bigger things.
Yeah.
So, sales is where a lot of people flag me, like, because they're like, TJ could talk, could close, and do all the things. Sure. And like, I'm good at sales, but my passion was marketing. And so I was sitting in the head of sales, head of marketing. I'm the visionary of the company. You know, Ross is like head of production, head of finance.
Yeah, everyone's wearing 6 hats.
Yeah, you can't scale. So there was a moment in time where I had alleviated like administrative stuff from my schedule, and then I had a really great team of sales agents. And then Alicia, who's our director of sales, when I hired her, she was one of the top producing agents in the Charleston market with a huge brokerage down there. And I called her because I was resourcing and connected to her and was like, hey, do you know anybody that might, you know, want a job? And she was like, how about me? And I was thinking like, no, I don't, you know, like.
Because if I pull you from that and I can't give you the opportunity to match or exceed what you're doing.
But, you know, we had breakfast. Hannah and I were down there. We went out, had breakfast, and she was like, I'm in. And I'm like, oh, boy, you know, so let's go. And so she came in, and she's kind of in that new market. She was down there in the Low Country in our Somerville office, and, like, she was, you know, shake, rattling, rolling. And I remember having, like, these conversations in the beginning of, like, what do you love? What do you hate? She's like, look, I eat what I kill. Yeah. I like to hustle. I ain't a manager. I ain't ever want to do anything like that. Like, that's not my gift. And in my mind, I'm like, I think you're wrong.
Because you're 100% a leader.
You've been thrown to the wolves in a new market, new hurdles. Like, I didn't have to think about who set up the internet, who did this, how did this get wrote. And one thing that I'm not good at is giving instruction. Yeah. I give direction very well, but I don't give instruction. And so I used to like akin it to like when I would hire people, I'd say, look, I hired you to do sales here. You said it's basically like I said, I need a dancer. You're like, I dance. And I'm like, all right, dance. And you're like, I don't know the music. I don't know the moves. And I'm like, it's all right. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And then,
but real quick, I want to stay on that because I think it's an important thing not to gloss over, like instruction versus direction. We've polled to thousands of employees over time in the organizations that we work with and consult, and the word that comes up a lot that they feel they don't have enough of is autonomy. Yeah. Which is like the independence to make a decision whereby, and I know where you're going with this because we've had this conversation, is like, I'm paying for a result. Yeah. How you get there, like as long as you operate within my core values, honesty, integrity, et cetera, like I don't care how you got there. I want the result. And again, a lot of entrepreneurs, they want complete supreme control over every instruction, over step by step by step. And so I think that's a big reason why you guys have moved as fast as you've moved is you've put people in place, given them the autonomy to make decisions to get to the end result. And then you just process how they got there and you have feedback, my favorite F word. You just continue to have those feedback combos on how we can get better and course correct. And sometimes they just nail it round one, rare, right? But even if they nail it 80% and you just having quick conversations on course correcting, people thrive with that. And again, it's the ego and the control from the entrepreneur that doesn't allow them to do that, but also they fear that they're gonna shit the bed. Right. And then they got to go clean it all up. And then, why did I even hire them? I'm spending more time cleaning up after them or redoing their work. When in reality, like to your point, that's probably one of the most powerful things he said on this entire thing is direction over instruction, because that's vital. So.